Hi, Leo and Leo Rising. Here is your horoscope for June 2025. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. All right, the momentum changes this month. This is because we do have some movement here with two planets. One is going to be Jupiter, which leaves Gemini and goes into Cancer, and is going to light up this 12th house for you, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But we also have Venus leaving Aries, finally, after it being in Aries for a very long time because of its retrograde. And Venus will leave Aries and go into Taurus, your 10th house of career and status. So that's going to be very important. And we begin the month with Mars still in Leo. And so things are moving forward for many of you, or you're doing a lot of self-analyzation to figure out what you want next, and so on. Okay? So if you're a Leo rising, or if you have a sun sign in Leo, this is a very general overview using Western tropical sun sign astrology, using the whole house systems. Again, it's very basic because I don't have everybody's birthday and everyone's birth chart is different. So this is going to be an overview. Anyway, so Mars is going through your first house. This month, it will change signs too. So we have several planets that are changing signs. So when that happens, the energy definitely shifts. Now, we just had Saturn enter Aries for the first time in 29 years, and it's in your 9th house. And it's closely aligned to Neptune. It won't be exactly close aligned, conjunct, until I believe it's the May or June of 2026 when it re-enters Aries again. They'll both go retrograde in the fall of this year, and then they'll come back into Aries again. But Saturn represents karma. Saturn represents restrictions. Saturn represents effort that you have to put into things in order to get things done. Now, it's in Aries, the sign of the self. And so this is about your values, your beliefs, and the 9th house has a lot to do with that. It's about the future, the higher purpose, your meaning of life. What vision do I have for the future? And Saturn here with Neptune is absolutely has you thinking about your belief systems, your philosophy, religion, politics. It's trying to get you to understand your core beliefs. And that's what these two are doing here, especially with Saturn. Saturn's going to dredge up all kinds of stuff that you're going to have to face. Now, fortunately, Saturn will only be in Aries for about 2.5 years or so, because that's how long it goes through each sign. So we'll have to see how that plays itself out. But it is in another fire sign like yours, so it could be helpful. Now, let's go over to Uranus. Uranus next month is going to switch signs also. This will be the 4th planet, the outer planet that switches signs, and that's pretty significant. But we start off the month with all of this Gemini energy. And so the 11th house has to do with the future. It has to do with possibilities. It has to do with friendships, acquaintances, and organizations, community. And this could also be technology oriented. So this time of the year, you're very much focused on being very social and interacting and thinking about the future, which is kind of normal. The motivation level should be okay too. Mars is in Leo, so that's going to be good. So we start off the month with lots of motivation, thinking about the future. And then things begin to change on the 6th when Venus enters Taurus. Now, Venus in Taurus works well because it's the home sign that it rules. Venus rules Libra and Taurus. But in Taurus, it's about the basics. It's about fundamentals. It's about money. It's about values. It's about, things. Taurus is a very physically oriented sign. In other words, anything to do with having possessions or the material world. It's in the 10th house of career and status. So for many of you, if you have a business or your job or whatever it is, you should be getting a lot more attention or making more money or contracts and agreements with this transit. So Venus going through Taurus for about 5.5 weeks or so through this 10th house could be quite beneficial for many of you. Okay, so this could be something really good that you want to, focus your energy on achieving the first half of this month because the doorway is wide open. Now, Mercury enters Cancer. Now, Mercury in Cancer does not work that great because Mercury likes to think and process information, and Cancer is about emotions and feelings. So what happens is when Mercury enters Cancer in the 12th house, we become more nostalgic. We seem to go backwards a little bit, and we feel more sentimental about everything. We're a little more moodier. And unfortunately, that's the downside to Mercury in Cancer. Fortunately, by the end of this month, Mercury will be in your sign in the first house. So there's this review period, so to speak. Even though it's not retrograde, it feels like it's a retrograde. So that'll last about 3 weeks or so. But Jupiter entering Cancer is big news because that happens every 12 years. It repeats the same sign that it was in before. So Jupiter in Cancer actually works very well. It's exalted. And so this could be quite beneficial for many of you, having to do with family matters, having to do with feelings, having to do with resolving issues from the past. Psychic ability becomes very strong at this point. And this transit will last for a whole year. And so you have the beginning stages of some sort of change happening to your foundation or your family, because Cancer rules the family, and Leo and Cancer are both very family-oriented signs. So we see Jupiter entering Cancer. There's definitely a lot of connection to other people that you really care about. So keep that in mind the whole year. But this month, Jupiter will also be making some aspects to these two right here, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the full moon this month is going to be in Sagittarius. And so the full moon in Sagittarius, the 5th house, this has to do with creativity, projects, loved ones, children, speculation, and having fun. Now, normally this is a pretty exciting kind of alignment, but because it's a full moon, it brings things to light. It's about completions. It's about realizations. And again, Sagittarius is a very philosophical, wanting to know purpose in life. What is God? It's a very deep, trying to understand things at a very deep level. That's what the sign does. Now, in the 5th house, it could have something to do with your children or a loved one, where you're having to make a decision about maybe their home life, or maybe what direction they want to go to for school. A realization that something is run its course and it's time to move on. All of those themes are going to be highlighted during this full moon in Sagittarius. It's not really a bad thing. It's like every full moon. It just brings your awareness to that level. And Sagittarius is about, having adventure and more fun and questioning everything. So we could see, maybe even having more fun, absolutely, because it's Sagittarius. But coming to a realization is going to be really strong during this full moon. Now, let's talk about some of these squares that are coming up, because they're very important. Jupiter square Saturn is a big alignment in astrology. Here's Jupiter 1 degree, there's Saturn at 1 degree, and this is what's called a square. They're 90 degrees apart. Usually causes some tension or some challenges in order for us to change in some way. That's how it works. It's not doom and gloom, it's just an adjustment period. So Jupiter wants to expand, wants things on a bigger scale. Saturn wants to restrict. And so we have this dynamic taking place here, where maybe there's a situation about a move or something new that's coming into your life. Maybe there's some travel that's overwhelming you. Maybe you're not sure what direction you're going in, and it's really bothering you. That kind of stuff. That's what Jupiter square Saturn feels like. Okay, so just realize that this alignment is going to affect everyone. It just happens to be your 12th house and 9th house of higher learning and visionary ability and belief systems. So you're learning new things every day and trying to figure out what is it that you believe in. And that's what's happening to many people. So again, understand the dynamics of these alignments. Now, Mars finally leaves, your sign and goes into Virgo on the 17th. Now, the 2nd house is all about money and values. Mars in Virgo tends to make us more nervous and jittery, and we tend to analyze everything. So at this point, when Mars enters Virgo, you're more analytical than ever about your finances, about your investments, and you're focusing a lot of your energy on that, because this is what the general theme is. So work-related matters, investments, any financial matters or expenditures, especially relating to children or another person, because this Mars is going to make some alignments to other parts of your chart. And so this is going to be a very important one for the next 6 weeks as it makes its way through your 2nd house. Jupiter will square Neptune. This is the other alignment that's taking place, Neptune and Jupiter. Now, this one's not as hard. This could just be a little bit more confusing, okay? Because Jupiter and Neptune are kind of on the same level. But this is like, I'm not sure I want to do this. I really would like to, but I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know. This could be a little more wishy-washy, because you're looking for security or trying to understand where you fit into this dynamic or what decision you're trying to make. Could have something to do with travel also, or living arrangements. This is what I'm seeing here, the theme that I'm seeing. So you might be at a crossroads here where you're really considering every possibility with regards to your home life and a new sense of direction. And that's what I'm seeing. Now, the sun enters Cancer. Now we're talking about the sign that rules the home or the foundation. And now the sun enters, and the sun is your ruler, it enters Cancer and the 12th house. So this is, again, either going into like a little hibernation mode or starting to realize things from the past and becoming more sensitive than normal. And this is very typical when the sun goes through the 12th house, because the 12th house is kind of limited. It's the house of limitations. And so, this is going to be a cycle that is going to amplify a lot of emotion, especially during the new moon in Cancer, which is going to be closely aligned to Jupiter. So this is going to have a lot of feelings and emotions attached to it. And so you're going to feel more sensitive than normal. Your psychic ability is going to be off the charts. And so this is opening up a doorway for spirituality, mysticism, and understanding things at a more deeper, profound level within yourself and letting go of the past. That's what this new moon is suggesting here. So take advantage of it. And of course, the last alignment is the Mercury enters Leo on the 26th and 27th, right there in your first house. So now you're starting to build confidence. You're starting to become more creative and wanting to be more vocal. So Mercury is going to be now in a much stronger position than it was in Cancer. So, you're going to start speaking your mind about certain situations, whether it's personal or business. All right. So anyway, there you have it. There's the general overview for the month. If you want to know more, I do an extended horoscope, as you can see here, from my Inner Circle community. And there we do, astrology, each month for each sign extended. And I also do the weekly astrology overview, which the members really do enjoy. I teach astrology there. And the big thing is on Sunday, every Sunday we have a Zoom call. And so members send me their charts and I answer a few questions for them. And we interact and we discover, everything about their chart as I'm teaching them astrology. And of course, we talk about the daily transits and stuff I can't talk about online. And so in the private community. Anyway, check it out. There's a free 7-day trial, so there's no obligation. I left the link down below. Hope to see you in the community. Anyway, have a great month, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.